All right, so Saro is one of our seniors, but also worked with Mickey and Tristan and Jake, and they worked together with the marketing team to make this amazing logo. We were all kind of involved peripherally in helping them and guiding them and giving feedback, but the students just knocked it out of the park. It's incredible. It feels like Cobblestill. It feels like the history of Cobblestill, but at the same time, it feels like the new Cobblestill. It feels like the fresh, young, vibrant institution that we are. So I think he nailed it, and I'm so proud of him. He's come so far. He's a star on the field in soccer. He's a star in the classroom. He's now a star in marketing. So he kind of encompasses that whole student that we want, right? That can do multiple things across disciplines. So.
And there were, I heard, was there 20 or 200 designs that they worked with?
Oh, easily. I mean, I myself threw 20 into the pot.
You did?
We all did. He said, just anything you can come up with. And I spent a couple hours at my house just musing and thinking, and I put them in the group chat on one of the Teams meetings, and mine didn't get through. But that's what we do as designers.
That's right, yeah. But as a faculty member, all your students did. That got here. That's what matters.
I'm glad it wasn't mine, truly, because I think, again, that speaks to what we do here, which is that we let students have the space to be successful. And that really, really showed. At open house on Saturday, that logo, that brand was everywhere. And I looked around the gym and I thought, this is us. I said it to you. I said, this feels like the fresh us that we want the world to know.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for coming in, because I was going to go find you. Do we want to, I think we do want to.
Do you want to put the lights on?
Yeah.
The light switches are outside again.
Okay.
In a weird spot, so.
Okay.
I'll flip them on if it's real bright, so if it's too bright, let me know.
Thank you.
Hey, Caleb, we want to invite them, Caleb, we want to invite them to Friday, November 7th.
Yes, thank
I
you.
think there's a gallery opening here. It's also our first Friday event. Everyone's invited.
Oh, great.
4 to 6 p.m., Friday, November 7th. Open bar, light refreshments. Our culinary students, who's also in our department, will be making some great appetizers and hors d'oeuvres and carrying them around stuff. So.
Yep, and the artist, Jenny,
Will be
will be here. She's already done some small little chats with our students. She's really fantastic. She's really great. She'll explain everything. It's beautiful work. So I'll get the lights on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, as we shed light on this group in a moment, I'd like to call
Well, that's great.
the College
That's
Council
good.
meeting of October 29th to order. And first order of business is approval of minutes of the September 10th, 2025 meeting. It's in the packet. Entertain a motion. Second. Second.
Linda or Tracy?
Second, I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion, questions? All in favor, aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed, okay. Student government update, Danielle.
Good morning, everybody. Let's see everybody back here happy. 7% living on campus. Our numbers compared to last year are doing very well. Even though we have less people regarding enrollment, the numbers of students that are being logged into all the events that are happening is exceeding when compared to the percentage of last year. So to show you that, regarding our clubs and activities, well, our students are very active and have a lot of energy to create new clubs. We have 6 new clubs coming in, 3 of them which are revivals. First group, the club that I'm going to talk about is actually outside of campus. It's called the Wildlife Turkey Federation. Our prior alumni came in after graduating and working in that industry to come back into student clubs and they revived the club. And they spoke with SGA to bring club awareness so that they could bring the club back into action. The next one that is coming up again is Snow and Ski Club, which is, as you can see outside, the season is coming in, so this is going to be very exciting too. Because they had when we researched the club, they had prior sponsorships outside of the club. So the club that is being revived right now is trying to get those relationships back in order so we can get that club back and running. We're also having a jiu-jitsu club starting without having any sports being on campus. regarding combat physical sports that what a lot of people have prior experience coming in. We started just a club with Laura Gross is actually one of our partners. It's amazing. Once the club is officiated, they're planning to be get involved with the dojo that's outside of campus. So you're bringing us a very, very nice corporation. They would have another club forming, the drama club. So maybe some future players coming out, we'll see what they decide to do. Regarding events, we just posted our charity volleyball yesterday. We had 12 teams participating, and Ag Business took the win home. It was a very, very long, interesting game. We had a lot of exciting folks.
Sorry, you didn't win. You tried.
Hey, last year we got 4 points, this year we got 13. So you're better than the league. This spring semester, we're taking it home. But I'm not biased. Let me be biased.
Today our day.
Your team.
And then we have a community Halloween coming up, which the numbers up to that are very exciting to me because 25 individual clubs and / organizations signed up for that. So the community event will have nearby kids come to our campuses, trick or treat across our dorm.
Tell them how many kids usually come.
I don't have the number because it's always a lot.
So it's usually 800 to 1,000.
Yeah. And when is this? I have grandkids, so.
Thursday.
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 It is a fun time for students, for the kids, because it's.
So I was just checking that our volume was
It works.
The students have games. Are we doing the petting zoo again this year?
I believe not, just because last year. So all the students are going to be wearing costumes. Every club's going to have their own little games and their own little candy section. So bring little kids in. It's going to be a
Candy.
And then we have a leadership conference happening on Sunday, which is going to build our interconnectedness between student leaders across all clubs and organizations. It's going to be from 8:30 to 4 p.m. Breakfast regarding trains. So that's going to be interesting too. And then finally, for our SGA Senate is doing amazing this year. I haven't seen a single Senate now raise any intelligent name when we've never had some of who we have today, Dr. Aya, and then we had Dr. Ian McDonald yesterday, we had Kevin in. She can attest to for how many questions they asked during those Senate meetings. It's incredible. We're definitely bringing all those new ideas to every faculty member that comes in, and we're hoping to see more change in the future.
Questions for Danielle? Thank you. Great report. Keep it up.
I will run to class now. Thank you, everybody.
Start your long walk to your next class.
We meet on Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay, President's update.
Good morning, everybody. I'll try to keep it brief. There's a lot going on. But I do want to start with, I would do the federal landscape, and then we like to make sure that we get a sense of who we are, and we're not sure that we've had opportunity for you to hear the student development, what student development does at this institution. So Anne will be doing a nice brief report on how all things, as you can see, with even Dano and other things that the student development does. But let me give you the federal landscape first, and then I'd love for Anne to step in. So it's an interesting time. I don't want to use words like hard and bleak because I don't think that helps us. We know, I'm not being Pollyanna either, we know there's challenges. And what I think is so important is how SUNY Public Schools keeps stepping up and stepping up and stepping up. So we do know what is ahead of us on some levels, and we don't know what's ahead of us. And yet, as you will hear, we keep moving forward as an institution now with a new brand, which Jason talked a little bit more about. And you heard how Kayla Vaughn talked about the brand and what it's doing for us moving forward. Where there are the greatest issues are in the grants because of the shutdown, but also grants because of how the current administration is reviewing what they will let through and what they will not let through. We did get, for example, from NSF, I'm very proud of it, it's called the EPIC grant, which is now on hold because of the shutdown. All the USDA grants are on hold. For us, we are trying to figure out how to keep our staff whole, and because the grants we have staff on grants. It is at this point costing SUNY $32 million. And you're hearing that at least 700 employees throughout SUNY will be affected because they are mostly on federal grants. So the landscape in terms of the shutdown is difficult. The other part of the federal landscape is how SUNY is asking us to be very vigilant and highly compliant with what we say about Title VI and Title IX. Title VI is the act that talks about making sure students feel safe on campus no matter their origin or their ethnicity, that they feel like they can enjoy all aspects of their education experience on campus without being accosted because of their background or feeling unsafe. This was what was the big title issue over a year ago with the encampments and the whole Palestinian-Israeli issue. So you want to add anything to that, Gus? Because that's, I know, under you. Okay,
Nope,
so
very
we have that. Last year, if you recall, we shared with you all of the SUNY mandates in terms of encampments and how we handle free speech and all of those important pillars, free speech in particular, of democracy. Title IX has to do with sexual harassment and all things to do with that. We are seeing an uptick. We're seeing an uptick in this area, and the uptick is a little bit on the serious side, I'll be honest with you. We don't know what that's about. Why that? If you want to speak anything else to that, Gus?
Title IX cases typically ebb and flow. There's no rhyme or reason why there's an uptick or why there's a period of time where there are no cases, but right now we are seeing an uptick, and those are being addressed as per our policies. But nothing really out of the ordinary. It's just the quantity versus the escalation. Yeah.
And just to add to this set, this is where the power of system, particularly SUNY, is really a benefit. Many of the private colleges, and I see a lot of those presidents, don't have the umbrella we have. And it's tough navigating those waters. So it's a love-hate relationship with SUNY, as you can imagine. We really appreciate that they are watching this with us and taking care of all 64 campuses. And at times it does have an impinges on our cultural identity, and we know how to, we're working that through. So I just want to stop there. I don't know if there's any questions or comments about the federal landscape.
You said that the grants are on hold. Are they on hold because of shutdown, or are they on hold because the Trump administration has killed it?
A little of both.
So both.
It's a little of both. We're watching the trio. The Title IIIs we think are the ones that are probably not going to go through because of the Trump administration's not wanting those to go through. And then there are those that we've gotten that have been put on hold. So the other thing we've had to do is we've had to scrub our website of all things DEI. Scholarships, anything that have to do with DEI. So
Is that because the Trump administration to get the grant, or is that SUNY business?
a little both. Thank you. Those are good questions, and it's that complicated. You want to add to that, Scott?
Yes, so even grants that were awarded, what's happened is the government's program managers aren't there anymore, so you really can't do anything.
For the shutdown.
Correct, because of the shutdown.
So we're hoping when they come back, we think the USDA ones in particular will go through. I mean, those are not controversial. I think the ones we have are not controversial. And we were going for Title III. I don't know if going to continue going down that route is probably one. Anything to do with students that may need a little assistance or maybe coming from a certain background that may be suspect, I don't know what word to use here, are probably the ones that are but like I said, we still are moving forward. The state is moving forward with very cool grants and initiatives. We have what we call the ASAP grant. It's about making sure 2-year and 4-year students get through. We have 140 in that program. We have our Emerging Scholars Program. We have, and you'll hear more when we talk about retention later, probably in the semester. We are doing everything we can to help them. Pell eligible students right now are not affected, so Pell is in place. I don't know if you heard Colgate is doing something very interesting. They're giving free tuition to families whose income is below $130,000. And they have scaled whatever income is what they pay. Goes down to free, I think, then 10%, 5%. So Colgate's trying something quite different. That's just tuition. They still have to pay room and board and books. And I think the tuition is $72,000. So as we say with our scholarships, our tuition is what, 79? 7,700 a year. So our scholarships kind of are built into our tuition because we're a state school. Does that mean students still want scholarships? Yes. And how to balance that in terms of 7,700. What else do we give? Because we're already at 7,700. So it's an interesting balancing act that's on your place. Thank you for that question.
The ACT conference, Chancellor King was the keynote speaker, and he talked about President Trump's contract with colleges he's trying to push.
Yeah.
Could you talk a bit about that?
Do I have to?
Yes.
There is a new push out there. It's kind of interesting too, because even though the government is shut down, we are hearing from, I guess, the advocates of the government on issues, and one of them is the contract, and it's asking colleges and universities to do, if you will, and that's where MIT has said no, Brown has said no, some colleges have said yes, because it's a threat. It's a threat, and we're trying to figure out. Did he say if any of the SUNY schools got tapped yet? Because as of the president's meeting 2 weeks ago, none of us were.
No, as of a week ago, no.
No. For some reason, they haven't knocked on our door yet. We're not sure why that is an issue. But it is the next version of bringing higher education to its knees. You have to, and we'll allow this, this, and this. If not, well, you're going to be in trouble. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to be perfect and pristine because democracy, higher ed, it's messy. It's messy, and you're allowing for free speech, academic freedom, taking care, and moving forward and learning. They're going to find, if you want to find something, you're going to find something, right? So that's, I think, one of the issues. So where would we allow them to say, okay, you're out of compliance, and will we prevail? So I think that's the landscape. I have to tell you, our cabinet, we're on this every single day. We talk with our faculty leaders as often as we can. We got this. I don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot, Eric. We've got this as best as we know how.
I think so. We're collaborating well between administration, faculty, and staff.
That's
Putting
right.
things in place, seemingly small things that really going to help future the institutional governance, for example, to be very reactive to what's going on federally and also the SUNY mandates. So
we're lucky in that our faculty ask us questions and we can work together. So I'm going to a faculty meeting tomorrow to start talking more. We have a big forum on Monday. So we're using shared governance and everything we can to keep our community as apprised as possible, not just apprised, but can help us in this work. So we're going to have to do some hard things, and we can explain why. And right now, I'm seeing our community rising. Are they scared? Yes. Do we have those who are nervous? Yes. We have all that. But we are navigating it as best as possible. Laura will give you an update more on the budget, but we do know there's probably a midterm budget cut coming. Now, that was always a possibility with the state, but as the state has to take care of our own, we're all going to have to tighten our belts again, which means we're going to be more in a deficit mode. And at the budget workshop, we're going to go into more detail for the cabinet, for the council. Yeah, yes, and we're going to have to do some heavy lifting, but know that Codaskill has been doing a different approach to our education model. So much so, it's making us, I know we have a deficit, but we're looking more robust because we have a model for the future that is going to include different ways of offering our programs. So we're building the new ship while we're going through a leaky one. Is that fair to say, Laura?
That's a great analogy. Great analogy.
Structures, like in terms of how if Codaskill were to be the door knocked on, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Does each individual SUNY school make a decision on whether they want to comply or not, or is it the entire SUNY decision?
Good question.
All SUNY? And is there any discussions with other state systems to band together? Because that's the only way you survive something like that. I mean, you don't have an endowment like Harvard or MIT, right? So you need.
As a system, we do, but you're right. We cannot. And this is the first time where I'm okay with that, where the chancellor has come through and said, you will do it this way. Because the weakest link of the chain is how they'll come up. And I've never seen 64 campuses to. So yeah, it's coming from a mandate from the system. As a matter of fact, the Office of General Counsel reviews our policies, particularly on Title VI and IX, and show us where we may have a gap, show us where we're okay, and then what are best practices. So we're getting audited well to say, watch this, watch this, watch this. But you remember when I said again, you can't be perfect. You know, and when you have somebody looking to get you, they're going to get you. They're going to get you. So then how do we react to that? I believe the chancellor is, because remember, he was former education secretary.
I remember.
So he has a network that is just unbelievable. So we know that is all happening. He hasn't shared all that with us yet. I think smart on him, he's giving us what we need to hear. You know, he's letting stuff out slowly so we all can digest it. It's a great question.
Chancellor spoke during dinner, so I didn't take the usual overly noted. But he mentioned on this contract, he mentioned there are 3 or 4.
Yes.
And he said 2 of the 3 or 3 of the 4, we have no problem
Yes.
because we already do it. A lot of it is in Title VI.
Title IX.
There was one last one that I said there is never going to be a way that SUNY's going to say yes to that. By the way, the Chancellor's a really bright guy. He's really impressive. If you haven't had a chance to hear him talk, it's almost folksy, which belies what's really in his mind. He's really on top of this.
We have the right chancellor at the right time. There is just no doubt about it. And the last one he's referring to is DEI.
Yeah.
SUNY was built on DEI. That's the reason why SUNY exists. And he said nothing will ever, ever, ever touch that. So is that a weak link for us? It's our strength, and I think he knows, okay, bring it on, if that's where we're going to go.
Is there any way to get like a transcript or something if you're not able to attend these to understand his perspective?
I think, maybe. I'll reach out and see if anything's been published
Yeah,
on the proceedings.
that would be helpful.
Also, we have the slides. He sent them out to the presidents, but it doesn't have all this information, Marilyn, it's more.
Yeah, one outline,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't,
but that's,
gonna work for me.
he's pretty vocal, he
Yeah.
sounds like he's saying the same thing to the presidents,
Yes.
to you, to the faculty senate. Yeah, every time he's in front of whatever group of folks, he seems to be saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Resolutions are coming from the faculty senate based on what they're hearing. That's the larger university senate, and we have a senator. So I think we're all hearing, which is nice, the same thing.
Okay,
Okay? So as I said, we are moving forward as a very strong institution, and that is quite evident in the work that Ann and her staff do on a daily basis. So we thought you'd like to hear, and Ann has an outline for you. Ann, you want me to hand that out for you?
Thank you. So I'm handing out two things. One is the overview for today. The other is our newsletter, the COBE co-curricular, from the Division of Student Development. I'm actually going to skip you two because I only put so many, and I know you know.
Tracy and Linda, we will make sure you get these via email. You good, Ed?
Yep. All right, so I'm going to start with the departments. So under the Division of Student Development, we have athletics. CAS, which is a little unique, I'll talk about that in a moment. Community Standards and Advocacy, which is newly titled. Residential Life, Student Leadership and Engagement, our UPD Department, Veteran Affairs, and the Wellness Center. So I'm just going to do really a 50,000-foot quick overview of each of those areas so you have the gist of what they do. So athletics, we have 20 varsity sport teams. Of course, we have a fitness center and an intramural program. We are in the NEC conference presently, but next fall we'll go into the SUNYAC, which we talked about here before. It's a wonderful conference, and a wonderful byproduct of going into that conference is we're going to save a lot of money, as I look at Laura, on travel. And then, of course, last semester our women's basketball team captured the first ever NAC championship, which is really exciting. And athletics is embarking this semester on a program called It's on Us, which is an NCAA initiative to work with our male athletes around the topic of mental health. And then moving on to CAS, which is its own entity. And it's overseen by the CAS Board of Directors, of which Scott is the chair. And then student development comes alongside CAS to work with them on really kind of the operations and bouncing ideas on us, and that one actually works closely with Kevin Hunter. And CAS consists of dining services, the campus store, and the laundry process in residence halls. I have listed all the dining halls are there, which is really unusual for such a small campus. And then their mission, I'm going to read the mission. Kevin really has a lot of pride on this, is to establish, operate, and promote education and related services for the benefit of the college and students. They're incredibly student-centric. They want to put money back into our students and their experience, and they want to get their input. And just, if you have a question, just chime in. So our community standards and advocacy was just renamed. It used to be the student conduct process. So this fall, we changed a little bit of the philosophy. So of course, we do address student behavior through what's formerly called the conduct system. And that process is really an educational process. We have conversations, one-on-one conversations, sometimes a situation will go to a board, get more breadth around, more brains thinking around the outcome of a given situation with students. We have a really low recidivism rate, which is repeat offenders, so to speak. And there's a lot of one-on-one conversation that goes on, not only from our Director of Community Standards, Joe Basile, but also our resident directors. And then the advocacy piece, we've talked about the CARE and VAT teams. That's been around for quite a while now, well over 10 years. We added CARE last year. And we're actually, now that we're participating in a national organization called MBITA. And what they're now recommending is going back to unifying those into one. So more information on that. And there were over 500 students referred last year to the CARE and VAT teams. So these are mostly faculty and staff, sometimes a student will refer somebody. And then all of these outreaches are followed up. Not only in student development, but also in academics, from advisors to case. So there's a big village there wrapping around students.
And just a comment, several times during the ACT conference, it was emphatically stated that one of the few absolute responsibilities of college councils is to oversee student code of conduct. So this is very important to us, and if things are going on campus, we really should hear about it. Maybe that should be a standing agenda item. If there's nothing to report, great.
Well, I would suggest maybe we do that in
An
executive session.
executive session.
Because Ann
That
can
would be
share,
appropriate.
she can share some important things and why we're doing what we're doing.
Sure. The one thing, another piece that I was just told late yesterday is our CARE VAT referrals are up 30% just this semester. So, well, it's a little bit cringy, but actually it means that we're getting this information and we're able to address it with
That's
sense.
the way to look at it, yeah.
So it's overall,
There's been more promotion of it and encouragement of faculty to, if you see anything,
yes.
don't second guess, even if you think it's low level, make sure you're putting care of that.
Oh,
That's how we're lending to that.
Right,
too.
and remember, right, we only started CARE last year.
That's
Right.
good to
So
know.
that really.
And CARES is the lower level kind of stuff, so
Yes.
a lot more is getting reported, which I think is good.
We didn't mention it earlier, but that's really what we attribute a lot of these Title IX intakes coming from, is there's more training. More people are erring on the side of, should I bring this forward? But there's less
Okay.
cases of actually rising to the occasion of.
And Matt Milan, the AVP, and Jill, the COO, oversee those two processes. All right, and then we have 10 residence halls. We prefer to call them residence halls, sometimes they're called dorms. Big encouragement there to try to just change the language to residence hall. A hallmark of some of the RA's programming is what's called intentional conversations that started a couple years ago. So their challenge is to meet with each of their residents and really get to know them. It's that simple. We use something called the Orange, that's our name. The curricular model is a program through an organization called the ACPA. And I'm not going to tell you what orange means because I forgot to bring it, but it's basically
Just say orange.
orange. And then we link up orange with our assessment outcomes. Excuse me. And then Residence Life also has plenty of opportunities for student leadership, RAs, our NPOs, our sustainability folks. Also falling under residential life, first it was housing security, and that was required by SUNY. About 3 years ago, and we baked that into our assistant director of residence life role, and she's done a phenomenal job. And for right now, food insecurity is falling under residential life. We have some transition with staffing, and they oversee the first art future. And 70% of our full-time students live in the residence halls, which is a really high number for students. Living in the residence halls, like overall across the United States, the retention rates are higher. And we've also seen that on our own campus. All right, so we're going to move on to student leadership and engagement.
And orange.
Yeah. Oh, you're
Openness,
the best.
openness, responsible, achieve, navigate, global, engage.
And that's a whole program structured around programming that the RAs use. So do our student leadership folks. We're moving it out into athletics. So it's a really cool program. So of course, Daniel, SGA falls under student leadership engagement. They oversee, which is really kind of cool, the student activity fund, and they disperse that. And they have a lot of agency and ownership in that. The campus engagement board falls under student leadership. Our Kobe Engage app, it's the CORQ app. So if you're interested, you can go on your phone, look up the CORQ app, upload it, and you'll see all the programs that are happening on campus. Maybe not every single one, but a whole lot of the student programs are on there. It's really fun to check out. Let's see here. Of course, we have our summer orientation falls under that. That 96% represents this past summer. We have 4 orientations. And the third weekend, which correlates to our IPADS data, 96% of those students who attended summer orientation are still on campus. So that's a really awesome statistic. And community service also now falls under student leadership engagement. Next is our UPD. I put the emergency management piece under that. They work closely together. So of course, 24/7 operation, fully accredited through DCJS. Only 30% of the state has that accreditation, and only 50% of SUNY. So we're really proud of that. Actually, our renewal is coming up next semester.
Is it?
So, yeah. We have Officer Reyes, which is our K-9, who is indeed a full officer and outranks some of our
Yes.
younger officers.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. And what's also wonderful about our UPD officers is they do programs and it's just trainings. They work with the CS group. I have on here beer goggles. And then for emergency management, Frank oversees all our protocols. He uses event guidance, tabletop simulations. So when SUNY said we really wanted to do a tabletop simulation on commencement, we did a tabletop simulation on commencement. He's really well versed in doing that.
And the university police also has authority off campus. Sort of.
Yeah,
Can you
so
talk a little bit about
I
that?
sure will. So particularly around the village, when that police department really substantially reduced, and we were very good partners together. So if we have staffing, if we're called, we will go and assist. And we have.
We have to be deputized if we're in the village, correct? The police have to recognize. That's what she said to me once before. Is that still the case? There's something about that.
Yeah, that's not a really clean process. So what we do is, because we want their help if we ever call them in. So if they call us, we try to go out there. And again, that's very staffing based.
But here's a good example. We had a little bit of an issue with one of our houses, and the mayor knows me very well, and Gus. We get an email to say, actually a call, hey, something happened, goes to her, goes UPD, they figure out who the house is, and UPD then takes it from there. So we have a very good relationship. Most of the time, our students are well behaved, and when they're not, they know who to call. So the village feels very in control, if you will, with us. So that's the kind of relationship, and that's through UPD and you.
That's actually, I can even expand upon that, kind of our village approach. So
Yeah.
the call comes in, I put the email out to my team and say, hey, what about this house? And it's kind of funny, they're like, oh, no, these people at this house, these people at this house, but we haven't heard of this house. And then more depth went into calling a landlord and then pulling UPD. So when there's like, not that this is a crisis, but it's not a good situation, really the team comes together, and oftentimes we're also pulling in Gus and Jason and to try to figure out those hard topics. So it's a pretty well approach.
From personal experience, I got a speeding ticket from the UPD officer on Route 7 in front of the college. I wasn't speeding in front of the college, I was speeding coming down the hill from below us, and where it's also 30 miles an hour, so got to emphasize that 30-mile-an-hour speed limit in front of the college is strictly enforced
Yeah.
appropriately.
They watch, they're out there.
They are.
All right, and then our small but mighty Student Veterans Association, we have our resource center in Warner Hall, our student veterans staff that through a grant, that's been in place for a number of years.
Yeah.
We of course have the Student Veterans Association Club, and then a good number of recognitions as a military friendly school. It's also a military spouse friendly school. And of course, our rankings and U.S. News and World Report and being approved by the Department of Defense. And this is done, right now we have a faculty member who technically has 10 hours that she gets paid for. She goes well beyond that and does a wonderful job. And then last but not least, our wellness center, health counseling and our peer support specialists. We now have, as of about 2.5 years ago, our Better Minds option for students to do online therapy. We actually just had to buy 50 more appointments to get through the year, and then we decided to be really safe to help students get to the summer because they can take advantage of this in the summer and make it about 100 at a better rate. Now, having said that, our students do prefer to be in person. There's no doubt about it, but
Prefer what, I'm sorry?
they prefer to be in person with their
Yes.
parents and their staff, yeah. But still, they're still using the online, and again, especially during the breaks, it's really helpful. Our LINK program is a student peer program partnership with the Community Center, actually students that go to the Community Center. And then we have our Zen Den, which is in the Community Center. Our Mindfulness Center is in the library. And we have therapy animals. So not only do we have dogs, we actually now have a cat therapy while out of the process. So that's pretty cool. And our mental health first aid program, we brought in about 2 years ago. Did a lot of training, and then so we were able to participate and train the trainers. And then now we have about 8 folks trained across campus to provide the program. And SUNY has tapped into that and came to one of our trainings, and now SUNY has launched mental health first aid across the system. So we're really proud of that.
Yeah, and I'd like to say how good that program is, because last month I participated in it because of another board I'm on, and it gave me a good understanding of how I can react or could react in different situations. What's a crisis? What isn't? If you have people that can train,
Yes,
it's
we do.
just such an asset.
And we
It really
often,
is.
at the beginning, just about every semester, we trained athletes. There was something else. Oh, and our director of athletics, Marie Curran, has been invited to the NCAA to talk about her training with mental health first aid, because now the NCAA is. So it's really
good.
It's intense, it's 8 hours long.
It is.
so.
It's good.
And that kind of really wraps up.
Well, I think it's important that you all hear this because it's quite robust, just like with our academic programs, and we're known as the only and the first. That's happening in Anne's area a lot. She gets tapped by SUNY and others nationwide sometimes for the good work we're doing, and I love it because we are probably the smallest of the 4 years, and yet we are always pushing above our weight, as we say. So I do think it's a good idea. Next council meeting, we can go to executive session. Suzanne can go into more detail, which we don't really want to share publicly live stream, what we would like to hear. Moving along, I'm going to consolidate a lot of this because I do think it's important that you hear both from Laura and Anya. So just to let you know, and I know Duran's not here, but we now have a new director of the Community Center. Maybe we'll bring him by sometime for you all to meet him. The academic priorities optimization and the strategic plan and the master facility plan. Next time, we can show you how it's all coming together. We're still working on it. There's so many mandates out there. What we have decided to do is we have it on a matrix now, all of the SUNY mandates, what we are already doing, how we can hook it all up, what are the metrics so that we're doing this in a cohesive manner, and then what it will be showing us for the future. It also has to tie into our stability plan, which now is going to get wrecked. It's a little bit wrecked already, and then how that will work into both retention and then the recruitment plan. So I just want to set the stage for all of you. With the facilities master plan, athletic fields is a top priority. We are the only institution that does not have a turf field in all of SUNY. So we have a project number, which is a big deal in the construction fund. How it will play out, we have no idea. We have no idea, but having a project number is important. We need a turf field for us to go to SUNYAC. I am talking to my colleagues around to say, may we use your turf field? We're working on all of that. So just wanted to give you that update.
I'm sorry, baseball, soccer, what kind of turf field are you looking for? Like all
Soccer.
Soccer.
Baseball's in great shape. Soccer, lacrosse. To become part of SUNYAC, we also had a promise to do women's lacrosse, which we have not had. That's built into the budget, and women's field hockey. Field hockey in particular will only be played on turf. It cannot be played on grass. Who knew? So we're very well aware of all of this and moving forward. Baseball is in great shape. On top of everything else, and we can talk more about this, we're in a floodplain. All our fields are in a floodplain. So we are in conversation with construction company. Do we build it up six feet with piping underneath? Or do we move it completely? So those conversations are happening right now. More to come. Also under master plan, our home ec is still being renovated and our robotic milkers are still on the docket. What I want to talk about now to shift gears, so remember I told you we have a matrix and we're going to share it with you once we start filling it in. On top of everything else, SUNY has asked that every campus put in what we call an academic momentum campaign. SUNY has done a lot of research with us over the summer, looking at our numbers for the last 5 years, and every campus got a target retention number. The target retention number we will be sharing with the campus on Monday, and then with you all later. We want the campus to see them first, obviously. They're very aspirational, I'll put it that way. They're up there. And they did offer us to say, if you don't think you could make it, give us the number that you think. And we said, nope, we're going to take those numbers because they're aspirational and it's something to shoot for. Our numbers will go into the SUNY numbers, which are also very high. Every campus has to get to a certain number. And again, we want the community to hear this first on Monday. This is for the 2026 cohort of students. So this doesn't really have to be targeted until 2027, but this is how we're handling it. We're considering it a 22-month campaign. We're going to use this year under Anya's leadership to try to get to some numbers already. So we're practicing now with all of the retention issues that we have going on right now. We have a lot of initiatives. And then we're hoping that will be the platform for us to get higher. So I apologize. I do think our community needs to hear the numbers first. You are our community, but our faculty and staff, we have promised them to see them. And the reason why we haven't gotten them out earlier is Anya wanted to readjust this year's numbers so that the faculty and staff can see this year's numbers based on where we need to go in 2027. We also are working very diligently, as you will hear, on our recruitment campaign. We have refashioned it, we have rethought it through, and more to come on that. We did not, and I'll tell you, we did not make our enrollment target. And so we're adjusting for that, and Laura will share more. We don't know what the number quite is yet because the enrollment target's for the whole year and what kind of makeup we can do in the spring. And it's all about retention. How do we keep our current students while how many can we bring in the spring? We're in a structural deficit, and it may get worse. SUNY has us. You'll see a plan after we readjust it, and we're hoping to have more details for you at your dinner, that we're targeted to be in the black by 27, 28. We're gonna have to readjust that thinking, but SUNY is working with us. And this is how I've explained it to the community. It's the traditional box, traditional student thinking and work and our 2-year, 4-year, and how IPEDS looks at that, first time, full time. No part-time, no micro-credential students, but now I think we're going to be allowed to add them. And I keep saying to SUNY, we're marching with you. These numbers are these numbers, and it's unsustainable. And I've said that on our stability campaign with enrollment, and I've said that to them on the academic momentum. These are unsustainable, given the landscape. We're not afraid to say that as a college. We have been asking for what we call off-ramp. What can we do differently? Can we do a tuition model that's a subscription? Can we do more micro-credentials? Can we do certificates? So the provosts right now with the faculty are working on an optimization plan where the faculty are telling us where they would like to be. Do they want to just teach micro-credentials? What kind of teaching would they like to do? Online. Because we have to open this up and allow faculty the resources they need to do something differently, and also to look at programs, our traditional programs that may need a facelift. Maybe we need to do something differently, and all that is in the faculty hands with the programs right now. So I wanted to give you that background because we're leaking and we're building, and we want to get rid of the leaks. But getting rid of the leaks doesn't mean patching the current ship. So that's the position we're in. I am proud of this community. It is tough. They're hearing tough things. And we're trying to show them how together we can get out of this. That's the best I can explain it. So with that, Laura, do you want to talk about the budget?
Certainly. So in our last meeting, I discussed how we have submitted our budget request to SUNY of approximately $40.5 million. SUNY did approve that in October at the beginning. But the problem with our budget request is our revenue projections are done in May, which were based on the old target numbers that we have for enrollment, which means we're not charging plus dollars, which is one of the reasons why coming up, we're going to have to reduce everyone's budgets here on campus because we don't have the revenue to support. Since May, our targets changed twice, and we have to, again, reduce those budget numbers. A couple of things that we're doing to combat the lower enrollment in the revenue is we've implemented a 120-day hiring pause. It doesn't mean we're not going to hire, it just means we need to take a longer pause. We really need to look at and ask our unit managers and our vice presidents to review the job descriptions, look at their organization chart, ask the questions, do we really need these tasks done? Are they mandated by SUNY? Are there other compliance regulations involved? Can we split or eliminate tasks? Can we streamline, automate, ask all the questions? And then, what is the impact of leaving that position vacant as a whole? And, can we achieve payroll savings somehow? Because payroll is our largest expenditure here on our campus. It's approximately $29 million a year. We've also implemented stronger controls on credit cards. We have had in the past a lot of difficulty receiving invoices, receipts, backup justifications, supporting documentation for every credit card transaction that happens. So we've instituted some stronger controls and sent a memo out saying, here's some penalties if you don't comply. And I'm happy to say, other than 2 people, we received every single receipt this past month, and the ones that were due from prior months as well. What people don't understand is that has an impact on our audits. And a couple years ago, we had an audit on credit cards, and we got dinged a couple things because we were missing credit card receipts. People weren't certifying in a timely manner, and a couple of people used the cards inappropriately. So we're hammering down on that as well. We are reviewing travel expenditures and whether we are to restrict travel on campus. What we found is, we went back approximately 10 years of what we used to spend for travel compared to what we spent last year. We used to spend about $1 million in travel a year. That was, of course, pre-COVID. We had stronger reserves here on campus. We could afford more. We can no longer afford that. This past year, we spent about $498,000 on travel. $211,000 of that was athletics and team travel alone. So, team travel, we have no choice. We have to allow the team travel to work, to go out there and do what they do out there and, get those wins and championship wins, right, Ann? The other big part of that is admissions travel. Admissions spent $77,000. Some would say maybe that's not enough. We need more admissions out there to increase our enrollment. I don't necessarily disagree with that. We do have, and this might be a coding issue, Schoharie County Public Transit was part of this. I think that's a coding issue. That's $63,000 a year. That is funded by student fees though, so that is a little different.
And critical, because that's how students get around.
Absolutely critical, yes. We're not going to restrict that whatsoever. And other buckets, our HR department, they use, some money, about $17,000 a year for candidate travel. So we get good candidates, we want to bring them to campus, they might be coming from another state. They get some of their travel covered to come in and interview with us. And the balance of that is, faculty and staff conference travels, meetings, and student travel, because we do have field trips for some students. K-9 is a great example of that, because we spent about $15,000 last year for K-9 field studies, where they went down to Penn State and did a couple days down there, a couple trips as part of their K-9 curriculum. The other piece that President Trenzio alluded to was the federal landscape. There's a chance that federal assistance programs are being curtailed. Not a chance anymore, they are being curtailed. This is going to cause some cost to New York State, which means that New York State is going to have to pull back some of their budget monies from all the other agencies to support some of those other programs. We don't know what the full impact of that is right now, but we knew this was coming this past summer. The New York State budget call letter recently was released, and in that budget call letter, it stated that the expectation from all state agencies is that when we do our budget request, and I'm talking SUNY as a whole, not just SUNY Cobblestone, but it impacts SUNY Cobblestone, that we are expected to keep our budget request flat. Now, for our campus, because our revenue projections were higher than what our enrollment number was, and we are not receiving the revenue we were looking to receive, just because we are being told a flat budget, we're going to actually have to reduce that budget because we're just not going to have the revenue to support it. But we still continue to focus on maintaining the stability of the campus to ensure the long-term sustainability of our operations, prioritizing core academic and institutional needs. The last piece discussed today is our stability plan. And last meeting, I talked about we are a campus of focus on the Chancellor's King since 2023. The goal is to be in balance or in black by 2028, 2029. They are doing an all funds approach right now, so they're looking at everything, including our IFRs, our revenue offsets, I'm sure I get a little dry, and our dorm programs, and our suture. So that's our all funds approach that they're looking at. There's revenue that comes in for each one of those areas, and what we look at is the revenue that comes in and all the expenditures that go out. So I mentioned earlier that the expenditures for payroll is approximately $29 million. That's what we're looking at. That needs to be reduced somewhat, and that's basically how we're doing it with retirements and looking at vacancies to see if we should be filling vacancies, how to fill those vacancies.
And just to say, that's what the budget workshop, we're going to go into much more detail
Yes.
for you all
Yes.
at the workshop. This is just high level.
Yes, next week is going to be a little more the nuts and bolts of the budget program. Just a larger overview of where we stand right now with the stability plan. We ended fiscal year 24-25 with a deficit of about $3.1 million. We had 1869 as our student enrollment as of week 3 for fall 2024. Remember, yes, fall 2024. This year, our fall enrollment for week 3 census was 1824, but our target was 1853. That was one of the targets that was changed. This is leading to a projected deficit of $1.7 million at this point in time. But that could change depending on the retirements, separations, revenue that might come in, revenue that might get pulled back from the state. It's all projections right now.
Let me put another context. Thank you, Laura. Ever since I've been here, as I start my 11th year, I kept saying that no institution can run their tuition alone. State institutions, particularly the smaller ones, not our research ones, have been kind of in that place because SUNY, the state also gives them, subsidies. We are in better shape, even though with our other there are a few campuses of focus, because we have been robust with grants, robust with micro-credentials, robust with other ways of trying to bring money into the campus. If we were just tuition driven, we would be, oh good God, I don't know where we would be. We have institutions, sister institutions, who are starting to panic because they haven't been doing that kind of work. We've been trying to do that just because it's good practice, not knowing this was hitting us 10 years later. And I am proud to say that even though we have this issue, that's why we think we can get out of this sooner and why we're looking at other ways to bring money into campus. So people don't understand, for example, when Harvard says that they can't bring in PhD students, it's because Harvard's budget doesn't live on the tuition. It lives on everything else. There's no institution that can be tuition driven at all. That is why, at some levels, we're a victim of our own success with athletics. We have a robust athletics program based on the student fee that will never cover athletics, ever. That is why we are building in an advancement person here to bring athletics. We just heard a statistic. Gus just heard a statistic. Would you mind sharing that so they understand that context?
25% of athletic programs nationally are not in the black.
I thought it was, you said 25% are okay. And
Oh, I'm sorry, the opposite.
It's the
Only
opposite.
25% of national programs are actually generating a net revenue.
75% don't. And you said the average is a $2 million deficit?
That's correct, according to NCAA.
Right, because NCAA, the biggest category of NCAA is the Division III at 450 schools. It's the largest, and we're all in that category.
Mhm.
The Division III schools cannot maintain or get the income that the Division I's can. Does that mean we get rid of athletics? No, but what do we do, right? So we know all of this. You can hear what we do know and how we're not sitting back on our heels, but this is a stewardship that constantly changes, constantly has to read the landscape, and relies on everybody in this room and this community to do what we need to do. That's why it's a leaky ship, and why we need to do things differently. I know colleagues, presidents who are saying, well, how do you even get into the grant market? I'm like, oh my God, you haven't even thought about how to do that yet. It's just, so what we're doing will be for the structure for the future. And Laura will continue to share those numbers with you. So that is why, so athletics is at a $1.6 million deficit. We know that. That's in a checkbook. It's not in the structure deficit. And how we're going to help get out of it, right? So, and I share that with Ann because it's hard to hear, and yet it's the reality across the country.
And it's interesting because athletics is definitely an enrollment driver.
Yes.
And a retention driver.
Correct,
And our athletic populations increased.
right.
So it's
They can
an
belong-
interesting conundrum.
And a lot of them are out of state too, correct?
Yes,
Correct,
yes.
Mayor.
That's a higher.
50% of out-of-staters are athletes. Any other questions? Is more fun?
Just from a bird's eye view, because I don't want to go to workshop. You have a $1 million deficit this year, you're saying?
So our base deficit is $5.4 million is how we start, because the SUNY number.
Yep.
We are now looking at the end of this fiscal year, current projections 1.7, which is great, but there's a lot of noise that happens in between now and then.
And the 1.7, there's no reserves
No.
for that?
There's no
So
reserves.
SUNY's got to help cover that.
Correct. Correct. We got hammered in COVID when 250 of our students left within 2 months. We were doing very well pre-COVID. We were balanced. It was amazing where we were. Within a short 6 months, we went down, and we've been trying to catch up ever since. And thank God we have these other structures in place of how we try to do business here. That's the reality of it. And most of those students left because they didn't want to have vaccines. It flipped so quickly, Martin, it's amazing. And we're not the only ones in this. I mean, it's tough go. Sienna announced that they have to do 26 buyouts if they are to continue, and they are outsourcing their facilities operations. So,
Their enrollment's down 14%.
that shocked me.
Yeah.
It shocked the hell out of me. So,
And last year they had a banner year, so it was sudden.
right? So, I mean, it is one of the most complicated situations. So thank you for being on the College Council and being with us through this. Scott, do you want to add anything? And then Jason, is there anything else you want to do the rollout? And then we'll finish our report.
Which do you want me to?
Oh, and I'm sorry.
I just put you on as we love to have you here.
Right. But I forgot though, before that, Anya, anything else with enrollment?
Yeah, so you covered quite a few things. We were down, we analyzed exactly, we tried to find out exactly where we lost the students. There was no smoking gun that this is the reason. We had 10 students possibly, we lost them here, 5 students there. But we already shifted admissions operations. We're strengthening a couple of territories to put more effort in there, and we're going after a couple of new or semi-new audiences that we haven't in the past, because the clip and the traditional high school graduates that we've been pulling from, that's going to go down again. So we're also working with Laura to figure out how to make a bigger investment in marketing, so we can, especially with the new brands, so we can use it as an additional push for new recruitment. And the retention task force was put together. They identified a long list of the kind of issues and also barriers, and they're prioritizing which ones we can actually tackle first, which ones the second. And it's going to be all part of the academic momentum, like the president mentioned. We've got this, we'll have the SUNY targets, but I already have the targets for this cohort. And although SUNY is only looking at the IPEDS data, which is full-time, first-time students, we're doing those projections and those targets for all. We're doing it for transfer students, readmitted students, and by specific groups, which is out-of-staters. What the strategy for that. For EOP, separately, we'll be tracking them, things like that. So really granular trend following in analytics to make sure that we get there. We're gonna keep, we don't have the new targets from SUNY that aligns with our stability plan yet. We're waiting for those, but I'm going with our this year's target. I believe it is achievable. There were circumstances that didn't allow us to happen this year, but I think it's achievable. The new SUNY target will be probably slightly lower than that. So we're staying at where we want it to be this year at least, plus better retention moving forward.
The governor announced, didn't she, all year, initiative for health learners.
Yeah, but that's for the 2-year college.
It's only community college.
We were in the initial ask because we have a 2-year program and it got pretty far, and I believe it was either the Senate or the Assembly, which knocked it out and said, nope, the tech sector colleges don't count, and it just drives us crazy. So yeah, we're not, but that was also on highly focused, in-demand programs. So some community colleges benefited and some did not. Any other?
How much do you want me to share?
Anything you want.
Okay. So I'm not sure how many made it to Alumni Weekend. We introduced a new flavor, caramel apple. Feedback was really great. That's from our own DPC. We're now.
Ice cream. Was it ice cream?
No, that was milk.
Milk.
That was milk. New flavored milk, caramel apple, went over very well. People said it tasted like a milkshake. We're now developing a plan to provide CAS all their dairy needs for operating the campus. We're focusing first on milk, and concurrently, we're also developing ice cream, which Marion got to taste our first batch of ice cream. And that would be also to supply CAS's ice cream needs as well as give us a retail product. Last night, we kicked off our second BDB cohort for the year. That's our business development bootcamp. It's a 10-week intensive idea to full business plan training program focused on people in the community. We have 19 participants. Tonight, we have final pitches for our first business development bootcamp cohort of this year. So they finished tonight. Our evaluated program applications open. So far this year, we've developed 44 new products since January 1st. The evaluated product development program is a year-long program that participants engage with us. And we'd like to have 24 participants this coming year. We have 2 food scientists that work to assist these participants in the development of their new products, and the program is free. So anybody that does production of any type of product, we'd be happy to have them engage with us in our evaluated product program. We're trying to become a partner of Chobani specifically for workforce development, and Chobani has hired a consultant that is working on determining how they will engage in the region to help farmers. And we had a good hour and 15-minute conversation with this consultant, and she, in the end, said that she was super excited to have met us and would be recommending us to be a partner with Chobani.
This is big. It's a $1 billion operation coming in.
Yeah, so we're trying to get a piece of that. We're positioning SUNY Cobleskill as a partner for urban agriculture with Fordham University's establishment of the Bronx Green Workforce Training Center to be their agriculture expert. And Achieve is the next big thing. If you're not aware of this, Achieve is the governor's $150 million challenge to give out 3 awards. Over the last month since we've met last, we've had several meetings with the various consultants that have been engaged by the Regional Economic Development Council, specifically on Empire State Greenhouses and the Carriage House expansion, which is really creating, it triples the space of our Taste New York store. It creates a food aggregation site for local farmers so that we can supply institutional needs like food for school districts, even for our own consumption here as campus with CAS, to move ourselves closer as a region toward achieving the governor's 30% of food has to come from New York State. We, in Schoharie County, we have, I should step back once. The RADC meeting was held on Monday, and as part of that meeting, it was announced publicly what was getting submitted. 2 of the 3 anchor projects for Mohawk Valley region achieve proposal to the governor are in Schoharie County. One is Empire State Greenhouses, and one is Oshino, which is a international resort company, and they want to build their first resort in the U.S. in Sharon Springs. We have, what the college has been engaged in is a total of about 13 projects in the final submission, and a total over $22 million that we're associated with. The Schoharie County benefit is over $33 million out of the $50 million that they're proposing. So this is really significant. The college has played a major role in the middle of this, and it can be a huge win for our area if we're successful. There were a total, they just said it again, I think it was 57 projects. 57 projects, and Schoharie County has 14 of them that have made it through a final proposal, and 13 of those are ours that we're somehow associated with. Empowers, the thing I would say there is there's a whole bunch of workforce development, particularly agribusiness-focused workforce development programs available at great subsidy all the way down to zero cost for participants. And we really encourage, we've got a lot of push and effort in increasing the marketing of that, but we really encourage the folks here locally to take advantage of that. Artificial insemination, I think, is subsidized by 50%. Honey, beekeeping, maple syrup production, some of those are free. Equipment programs free. There's a lot of benefits available to people right now. So maybe we can send a QR code out to folks that they can distribute. Empowers, while we're talking about Empowers, it's a 3-year program that if we're successful in delivering all the training that's a part of it, it brings over $1 million in revenue to the college through these subsidies. So that the participants benefit by having a lower cost, and it doesn't cost the college anything to offer those. We still get full price, basically. So it's a win-win for everybody. And that's part of our revenue plan to help us dig out of the financial hole that we're in. Second thing that we're working is the Northeast Training Center. We have put together our offering calendar for the next year. That will add another not quite $200,000 profit margin to us, about just shy of $500,000 in revenue, I think, if I remember the number correctly. I think it's 490 something. And the year after that, we're building a facility plan and offering plan that will more than double that for the next year. So these 2 components are really important over the next couple of years for us from a revenue perspective.
Hence the idea, we've been working on this for 7 years, the reason why it's so critical that, you know, we expand who we are, external facing. And Scott has taken the Institute to heights I've never seen before. And he's well known in the area and highly respected. We are at a broadband launch in Schoharie County. We'll be the first county in New York State to have 100% coverage. Broadband for every community member in the rural area. And while there, you know, he got as many, hey, good to see you, as I got, which I think is, and we always are hearing, thank you for being here. I was the only non-government entity who spoke. They gave me the opportunity to speak. And the power of City of Cobleskill in the region, people come up to me all the time, thank you. Thank you for being here, thank you for, and that's really through the work of Scott. The other thing I want to add is, did you get an invitation, Eric, from the Chancellor's office to be with us on November 17th?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
What's November 2nd?
The Chancellor's coming to campus. Everybody's welcome to make a major announcement that will also, I think, show you the power of where we're moving ourselves. He has asked that you be there. There will be dignitaries from the Assembly and the Senate. And we're very excited. We are hoping he's going to announce something we've been working on for, I don't know, a while. But they have specifically asked that the chair of the College Council be present. All of you are welcome. And I believe we're going to hold it.
Still to be determined, but we have a hopeful place.
This is engraved in stone because the dignitaries who have been invited, there are a good number of them. I believe he's also being inviting some other college presidents because it has to do with a proposal we put forward. We're very excited about that. So yes, we are where we are, and look where we're heading towards. That's the way, you know, again, leaky ship, building a new one. So everybody at this table, and I know Eric will be speaking soon, please congratulate them, please thank them. I try to do that every day because it's the only way we're going to get through it, is with a community that's moving in the right direction. I just want to turn to Jason. Is there anything else we want to say about this wonderful rollout?
Yes, I just want to reiterate how fortunate we are to have the talent and know-how on our home campus. Looking back on things, we knew we always wanted to do the most cost-effective process as possible. And that included leaning on our faculty, staff, and students, a lot of them with marketing backgrounds, even some that didn't have any marketing backgrounds that offered us a new perspective based on their lived experience with college. And then going from that to a very focused contract with a sole branding consultant who we gave him, this is our raw notes from our conversations. Can you help us craft this into a workable brand? So the logo is just kind of like a forward-facing part of this. There's a whole platform behind it. On the 20th, I emailed the College Council our sort of announcement. And in there is a link to the brand book, which I encourage you to take a look at. I think what I'll do is I'll send you the link to the brand book on its own, so that you can read a little bit of the background that you'll start to see in a lot of our marketing and how we present ourselves. I was really happy with how Open House came together. It was very difficult to find one of our old logos in the room. It seems like the campus is kind of excited now and really like embracing this new Cobleskill AgTech identity that we have. So everything will start, you know, again, being cost conscious, rolled out gradually, and we're kind of handling things piece by piece. So,
Thank you.
Can I just go back a little bit? When you talked about the region, and I hear a lot of references to Mohawk Valley, how do you define the region?
Especially 6 counties. I am the co-chair of the Mohawk Valley REDC. The other co-chair is Larry Gilroy.
Okay.
And there are 10 REDCs in the state.
Okay.
And every REDC has boundaries of counties.
Right.
So Schoharie's the most southern east, all the way up to Herkimer, Oneida, Fulton Montgomery, I'm not gonna remember, Otsego.
Okay,
So it,
so I'm heading northwest,
yeah,
sort of.
you go from Herkimer, so Rome, Utica, that whole area down to us. And the beauty of that is where we sit.
Right,
So not only are we the ag centric, and we are now, we're considered one of the experts for the valley. The way Micron is not in our catchment area, but Micron, who needs 85,000 new people coming in the next 20 years, all the way through Wolfspeed, which is in our region, to Global Foundries, which is just outside our region. The whole mechatronics, all of that is going to just mushroom. While that's mushrooming, we're staying very connected and centered. That's why we're ag and tech. And what space we're going to play in. So that ESG, a $200 million growth center, is on our campus. And what that brings in terms of food,
right.
and everything else. So it's the Mohawk Valley Regional Economic Development.
Okay, because the reason I ask, I'm also on another council for the Watershed Ag Council, and we just signed a $250 million 10-year contract with the city of New York. We assure that the water quality that's impacted both by agriculture and forestry practices are maintained. Work a lot with Cornell University. We have a population that knows nothing about the resources here. So I think that there's a potential. We're involved right now doing a carrying capacity for the food system in New York City. What can we provide within a certain radius of New York City in terms of food? And I just think that there might be a good opportunity for shared resources moving forward.
I will talk to you to show you the landscape, because it can be that way with the watershed. It can
Right.
also be via the
It's Delhi is there.
Delhi, they're in the southern tier.
Right.
Yeah, let's talk, Marilyn, because I think there's things we can think about.
Yeah, I think there's opportunities.
In the past, Schoharie County was in the Southern Tier 8 federal.
Right.
district, and the Mohawk Valley State District, okay? Because the federal and state maps are
Right.
different on
Right.
this. But Schoharie County decided to leave the Southern Tier 8. So
Okay.
we're not, I used to go to some of those meetings, but
Yeah,
that's not continuing forward. That was a county decision. I was actually not happy with that decision, but.
just because the region for the Watershed Ag Council is not just the blue line, we support farmers and
Yeah.
people involved in.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll help you.
Yeah,
with the landscape.
okay, because, yeah, I think it's a win-win.
Well, the fact that SUNY Cobleskill is, one of the leads through my work as a co-chair is really, really
Sure.
good for us.
Even with other regions, yeah, okay.
Concludes our huge report.
Yes, thank you. Any questions, comments? Okay, we'll move ahead. Eric, faculty governance update, please.
I have a smaller report, but all good news. We had a campus-wide governance meeting on October 16th, and it was kind of a banner day for voting things in. In my time here, it's the most things we voted in, almost all unanimously. I'm not just saying something for that presiding officer. We voted in a couple of academic policies. One was a classroom recording policy, which had been sitting with SUNY OGC, SUNY Legal for 6 to 8 months. So putting that in front of everybody else, like, okay, we can discuss this, but we're not going to tinker with the language that's been tinkered with by SUNY Legal. So that puts us ahead of other campuses, because a lot of other campuses want our policy. When we had the SUNY UFS plenary, everyone was asking Simca for it. And she was asking me, I'm saying, look, we haven't voted on it yet. Do not give it to Potsdam, do not give it to us, we go down to anybody. So it's important. It protects intellectual property. It harbors a respectful environment. It talks about what can be distributed and shared. So all good with that, and legally sound too. So we also voted on posthumous degrees policy. This was pretty much boilerplate language that came to us from the state. So had to make it happen quickly before December, so we got the language, we voted on it, how to grant posthumous degrees, so that was an easy one. We voted on bylaws for curriculum committee and for academic policies committee. These are bylaws revisions based on the fact that we restructured a couple of years ago. So the membership would have to reflect our current sort of landscape. And a lot of that was looking at board of trustees policies and defining that membership. So that was what got it tabled last time. I think a lot of what we saw in that meeting was stuff that had been tabled or been in process, and it all got approved. So we have new members to find. So both bylaws approved. Institutional governance committees, we voted in all of them. Reconfigured fiscal affairs and strategic planning, that will be shared between the academic governance side and the institutional governance side. We essentially voted in institutional governance. We now have it. We voted in an infrastructure committee, which combines the old tech committee, technology committee, and the facilities and space committee from the academic and faculty side, and which is now under institutional governance. That is not a shared committee, and that's an advisory board to be more reactive, more connected to the president, to be more connected to mandates that are coming down. We also voted in a new committee, a student well-being and engagement committee, that I think is a really good idea. So for the 30,000-foot view of all that stuff that we sort of alluded to with CARES and that. And thanks to our vice presidents, you're all involved in the leadership of those committees, which have faculty on them. So that's much appreciated. Thank you, President Terenzio, for a very collaborative, open process since January in getting this. There's been a lot of back and forth, give and take, and checks and balances, and I really appreciate it. I think we've come up with a model that's really going to help our campus moving forward. We've been a bit stagnant in governance in the past, I'll say that. I think this helps us out. And for the first time ever, we're going to actually assess governance, both on the academic side and the institutional side. And the president and I are working on a rigorous and rolling that out. So big strides forward in governance. I think governance is kind of the, it can often be the nervous system of a campus. So that at least is in pretty good shape right now. So thank you, thanks to the provost, thanks to the cabinet for rolling out this. Appreciate it.
Let me just add, it couldn't have also happened without Eric's leadership. What this is going to do is faculty will be more involved in understanding the dynamics of what we're dealing with as an institution so that they have a better opportunity for input. In the past, because of the structure, I couldn't get to them to get their advice, so I would do task forces. And that, that didn't work. So now it's going to be 5 faculty reps, faculty staff reps, with the VP or me, depending on the committee, working on policy. It's going to be tight, and it's going to be that we will share, we'll educate them as they educate us. And I think it could be a very powerful model, and we don't want people say, well, do they have to be experts in these areas? No, the VPs are the experts. They're going to learn better, and as you cycle through, a bunch of people are going to really understand the ins and outs of the institution as well as what we're up against. That's what I like about it. So we're very excited.
Questions, comments? Thank you. Great short report. Advancement Foundation alumni updates.
I'm presenting those updates on behalf of Eric today. So we, at the foundation, sit just over, a little over $1 million at this point in the year, which is right where we want to be toward our goal. We have about $3 million in the pipeline, and that continues to grow as we make more asks throughout the year. Our scholarship luncheon, which is one of my favorite events of the year, is planned for November 13th. Very much looking forward to that. Thanks to everyone who attended homecoming. Got a lot of positive feedback. The Golden Grads had a great time. One of the largest attendance from the class we've had in a long time. I really enjoyed it. We are excited to welcome Keita Ogden, our new Associate Director of Development for Athletics. So she's focusing solely on athletics fundraising. She has a lot of really great experience, and she's really going to help bring in an infusion of dollars to our athletics programs. Our annual fund is doing great. Kate is getting appeals out the door. A really cool one she's working on right now is sending leafs to alumni who live in states that don't have fall foliage. So we're cutting leaves and sending them leaves, and it's those personal touches that garner responses. So that's really cool what she's working on. Another one that's going out is a welcome letter actually went out from our newer development officer, Nico Zatsi. He was a former student who came on board and brings a lot of energy, a lot of love for Goldskill, and actually a lot of knowledge about Goldskill, being a student and having worked in admissions and having been president of clubs. So that's a really great thing. And then just one more thing briefly, our alumni newsletter is being finalized for quarter 4. We're letting it go out. So, like, same kids.
Questions, comments? Great job.
Who's the name of the basket person for athletics? Keegan Ogden?
Caitlin Ogden.
Caitlin Ogden.
Eric Allison went out.
Great, thanks.
Formerly of Bassett, she and I worked
Oh, really?
together for a number of years.
That's first.
Okay. Anything else on information sharing?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
4 or 5 pages. So, as I mentioned, I attended the ACT conference October 17th and 18th, and I'd like to hit just some of the highlights. And hopefully you can see, as we discuss, both what the presidents heard 2 weeks before from the chancellor, what we heard, tracked perfectly. Obviously not as much detail, but we got the highlights of that. And again, I really want to encourage council members to attend next year's conference. We had probably about 30 in attendance, which is low. We often have more. We'd love to have at least one person from every one of the 64 campuses attend. I don't think we've ever hit that. But it's very informative. It started on a Friday, and as we have in the past, it was kicked off with a meeting with the SUNY Office of Government Relations. These are associate chancellor level people who pretty much advise on all things that affect government, affect dealing with federal as well as state government. And one of the things we did during the year, a survey was done of council members throughout the system. And there were a few very consistent topics: council vacancies and expired terms. And SUNY has put in a process to really catch up with that. And, we went from maybe 5 or 6 council to before Susan Reitmeyer retired, we had a full council. So we're down to 1 now. So that's very good. New council member orientation. We really pushed to have some sort of a standard SUNY-wide template for orientation that could be modified to every specific campus. There was very mixed responses on council member engagement levels at the council level, and presidential engagement with the councils. I happen to think we're pretty high on that scale of engagement for what we do. There are some councils that basically some members live on their campuses and have offices in their virtual, if not real, in their president's office. I never thought that was needed or appropriate. So I'd like to think we have a good balance. You just heard almost 2 hours of what's really going on in the nitty-gritty and the discussion. The ACT handbook needs updating. This is the most current one, it was 2022. So there are things in here that don't line up with education law. They're actually perhaps more so than the education law. So get those synced up. It really doesn't talk much about orientation or things, so we should see that. They're forming a bunch of committees, one being a handbook committee, so we'll see what goes on with that. As I mentioned before, the two responsibilities that councils have are code of student conduct and specifically as it relates to Title IX. So one of the other things that we talked about was, again, a SUNY program on Title IX education, Title VI, and the others. So everybody's hearing the same thing throughout the system. I got to tell you, this meeting was scheduled for an hour. We were there for over 2 hours. It was a really good discussion with pretty much the leadership of SUNY. So it's a great way to the next morning we started with an ACT business meeting, and it's been announced that the next 2026 ACT conference will be November 13th, a little later, and it'll be at the SUNY administration's SUNY system building in downtown Albany. We were there maybe 5 or 6 years ago. While it's not as glamorous as the Marriott on Wolf Road, sarcasm included, it's really good to be in this giant building. If you've ever been to downtown Albany, you really see what goes on in there, even though it's a Friday and Saturday. And so it's a great opportunity to send out information as we get closer to next week. We heard a presentation on SUNY Leads capstone projects, and I think we've touched on some of these here. SUNY Geneseo has a formal mental health certificate program for faculty and staff, and it sounds very similar to what we're doing with our mental health training. And all of these programs are things that can be scaled and rolled out to all the campuses. So we may see more on that. It was very interesting, and it is a formal certificate for faculty and staff. SUNY Downstate Health Sciences is working on a capstone for their workforce development, and specifically changing environment and technology for established faculty and staff members. Again, it's something that I think can be rolled out. And then SUNY New Paltz Touchstone project was on, they developed a high-touch transfer program specifically for 2-year to baccalaureate programs. Again, that's something that we're very interested in, and maybe we can learn something from SUNY New Paltz. We had a program on education in the AI environment, and the takeaway, 3 points. AI allows for personalized learning beyond the classroom. So, students learn different ways. AI can help tailor their learning outside of the classroom to what best suits their needs. AI must safeguard the human element, and AI is, they say, equal to, but not the same as human educators, complementary. And the quote was, AI empowers education, humans define it. It was interesting in the question and answer, somebody brought up AI being used inappropriately to author student and faculty work. And there was an example given of this issue coming up, and run by an AI detector that said, yeah, this was written by AI. And when that person went through the appeal process, they ran it through a different AI detector and said, there's no evidence this was AI. So the takeaway is AI detectors are not reliable. So if we ever get into that situation, we may want 3 AI detectors. We heard from the SUNY Office of Student Success. And again, as we've been talking about and what New Paltz was working on, the high priority is seamless transfer initiatives, especially community colleges to baccalaureate programs. So that's a system-wide effort that's being developed, which I think could be really good. Then the absolute highlight of the conference was the ACT Scholarship Awards luncheon. If anybody wants to see little blurbs on the 6 winners, we can always send this around. But what I want to report is there was one scholarship given for excellence in education and teaching. Excuse me, that's the Nancy Zimfer Scholarship for Education. And these are for students in degree programs in education. And then there were 2 scholarships given for student initiative. And this means not only having a significant impact on the campus where the student works, but also in their community and perhaps beyond. 2 awards were given out to university centers, Albany, Buffalo, Binghamton. 2 were given to comprehensive colleges, and 2 were given to agriculture and technology colleges. This is important because up until now, ag and tech colleges only got 1 award. So we, as I got the honor of chairing the award selection committee, and in that committee, we really advocated to our SUNY representatives that this is a violation of DEI. We want equity. And they went back to ACT executive and they gave us 2. So it's the first year we had 2 scholarships. Really well-deserving students for this thing. So that was really a very nice highlight. And if you only come to one thing, the conference, go to that, because it really shows the quality of students that is educating and putting out and supporting. I think we had 21 applications, and these are submitted by each campus faculty and staff. The president has to, or the provost has to sign off on the submission. It requires 3 letters of recommendation. So there's a lot of work that goes, and a lot of work for the committee to read through it. We did all of that. We then heard the SUNY Office of Government Relations. No, sorry. And that was it. So hopefully that gives you a flavor of what goes on in these conferences. And, the other thing, you get to meet council members from other schools. And I think that's another highlight of the conference. You can compare notes, you can see how they do. As I said, there are very different degrees, of participation from college to college. And the fact that we probably had 15 campuses out of 61 represented shows you the degree of difference. So again, urge you to try to attend next year. And presidents too, I know you have conflicts, but you've been, you know.
It's worth it, yes.
And the only other thing I have is, again, November 12th is to have a dinner and budget. So please make every effort to be.
It'll be good food.
Yeah. And comments on that? Are there any council members who want to report or discuss or ask? We want an executive
A
session.
quick executive session.
So a motion to go into executive session, please. Thank you. Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Now in executive session.